Alright, so what I got there is, this is a Bowser T1 cast iron frame. I bought it just to have one, because eventually I'm going to build one. This one here is made out of plumbing like bathroom drain, 1 1/4 inch stock. Heated it up, flattened it, cut it in sections to make it flat. If you look at it from the top here, you'll see that the back end is tailored in, and then it starts to come out, and then it tips back down right here like a regular, not quite as much as what it really should be, but it's close enough. This is made out of sintra, which is kind of soft. I'm going to paint it with epoxy to give it a little bit of strength. The nose is made out of the same stuff. It's basically, they call it PVC, but it's very, very soft. You can cut it with a razor blade. So these pieces are all bonded with crazy glue and baking soda. If you sand it, if you sand the inside of the plastic, it'll be extremely strong. I mean, I could break it if I wanted to, but extremely strong. So this is part 1 of my building my own T1. I got the idea from Paps trains. He did an S1. I'm going to use a rivarossi chassis. This particular train is going to be about a 1/2 inch bigger than, maybe 3/4 inch bigger to scale than what it probably should be, but I need the room for the drivetrain, which I'm going to use a rivarossi. Let me set the camera up here. I'm horrible at this, to show you here. This is the back of a New York Hudson train. What I did was I belt sanded this down, wet sanded it. I cut it in half, and crazy glue and baking soda back together. I gotta clean that up to make this roughly as wide as a big boy, because a T1 and a big boy are only like 6 inches difference, which in scale, that's a millimeter. I mean, it's 3.5 millimeters per foot, I think, in scale measurement. So this is gonna basically go like that. I have to cut these windows and pull them out, put them at an angle. I'm gonna add a lot of extra stuff. I made this. This is the top piece. You can see it. It's made out of thin Lexan. I put it in a plotter, a vinyl plotter at work. I drew the image out the way I wanted it and let it plot it. It's cut partially through it, and then you have to snap it free. This is going to get glued on the top like this, and then I have a circle to go here, and then smokestacks to go here. I'm going to glue this down. Made it a little extra long because I didn't know exactly where it needs to be. I'm going to glue this down, and then I'm going to heat this down, glue that, and then I'm going to belt sand it all the way down so there's no edge. And like when I paint this, I'm going to paint it with an epoxy. I'm going to spray it so the paint will be pretty thick, and I'll be able to wet sand it after, and it'll cover all the grooves. I'm going to actually probably put something on there, because when this is painted, I want the grooves to show. I still haven't figured out how I'm going to do the rivets. I think I actually am going to spot glue grains of sand where the rivets will be, and then epoxy over them. I don't know. I might even just not do rivets, but as far as the chassis goes, what I'm going to use is I'm going to use 2 4/6/4s, because the drivers are roughly the same size as T1. They're a sliver smaller, but as far as scale goes, they're no big deal. So what I'm going to do is I am going to cut this frame right here. These are going to get moved forward. This shaft here where my finger is, that's going to get shortened because this needs to be almost on top of this wheel. Can't have any space. The front truck, this will also be the front, another one of these. It's going to get lopped off the back. Actually, I don't know if I'm going to lop it here and still have the gearbox, so I have two gearboxes. All this stuff's coming off. This rear truck is getting changed. The wheels need to be closer. If not, I'm going to re-drill these, put the same size wheels on it, cut this and move it 1/4 of an inch because I need the space. So none of this will be here. All this drive gear, all that's going to be gone. It's just going to be this and this linkage is going to be junk. I don't know exactly what I'm going to do. This linkage here. So I haven't figured out if I'm going to make this slightly articulated because it needs to be a 2-4-4-2, or if I am going to make one solid frame and take the flanges off the 2 center wheels. So the front set of drivers and the rear set of drivers will have flanges and the 2 won't. That will allow me to handle 22 radius curves, but that's it, nothing less. And my layout has 33s, 35s, a lot of 33s, a lot of 35s. It has a lot of 22s, and it has a few 18s. So I haven't decided how I'm going to do that. I think I'm going to do it slightly articulated. Make the front truck move a little bit and have the rear truck solid. If that's the case, I will use a spring drive shaft that can flex. Basically a pen, a spring, a little bit stronger than a spring from a ballpoint pen, and fasten it from one drive shaft to another, and that will work. That'll move enough and it'll still spin. That way I can have all 4 wheels turning. So anyway, that's the first. This is what I've come up with so far. I built the shelf first because I need to have the exact length. I believe my drivetrain from front to back is going to be 8 inches, 8 1/4 inches. And that will be just enough to fit inside this train. I will not be using the Rivarossi motor. I will be using a small can motor that I've tested on a bunch of other trains. So there you have it. And I'll keep you posted with the next video.